Secret Level is an animated anthology series where, in its main hook, is providing mostly alternate takes on pre-existing game franchises. And it was better than I expected. Well, some episodes were better than others, and as is, I only really watched the first batch. And that was only because I watched it with a friend group in a VC. Actually, this friend group invited me to watch it with them, mainly because of a particular episode, which is the main focus of this video, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The D&D episode was fine, I guess. The New World episode was nice, don't really care to play the game though. The Unreal Tournament and Warhammer episodes were pretty fucking dope, and the Sifu episode was absolutely beautiful. The Armored Core episode was pretty cool too.
None of those fucks are anything like me.
They're not like us.
Then you have the Crossfire episode, which is not only the worst episode, but is also just complete and coherent abysmal dog shit, with dialogue written by someone who heard the word fuck for the first time and thought it was the coolest fucking word in the whole fucking dictionary.
Good to fucking see ya. I knew that retirement bullshit was just bullshit. Fuck that retirement shit. I just got back from helping my friend find his wife. Christ, what a fucking pussy.
If you told me I wrote it, I wouldn't doubt you. And honestly, I haven't really ventured much into the second batch of episodes they released, though I did go out of my way to watch the Mega Man episode, which I did like, but damn, was it short. Like, what was there was really good, but I wish there was more to it. It ends as soon as it begins, which, now that I think about it, is honestly quite metaphorical to the big comeback the series had during the late 2010s. It began with Mega Man 11,
and the rest is silence.
But of course, there is one specific episode I'm here to talk about. When Secret Level was announced, one of the many episodes that was teased was one based on Pac-Man, and it was given rather ominous teaser images. We didn't know what this would have been like, other than the fact that it was definitely going to go a more horror direction, and it wouldn't be the Pac-Man we all knew. And as more information was shared about it, my cynicism grew. Though I would like to mention, when I first saw images of the sword-wielding protagonist of the episode, I recall jokingly referring to him as Erwin. I mean, he's the only other Pac-Man character who looks anything like the protagonist of the episode, so yeah. Now, about my initial cynicism, truth be told, this is something that rather died down when the episode came out. Mainly the idea that you would have to construct something new out of Pac-Man if you were to make any adaptation, since to a lot of people, Pac-Man is just that one game, and so one would wonder how the fuck would you adapt this? You probably understand why this mentality annoys me. Pac-Man's had a lot of material to work with, even before the existence of Pac-Man World, and its sequels, and spin-offs, and everything that came after. This general attitude that anything after the original arcade game doesn't matter really annoys the hell out of me. It's part of the main issues I have with the way Smash handled Pac-Man, but that's a rant for another day. There was a time where I saw these loose adaptations as an extension of that. Honestly, looking back, this is a stupid way for me to think. Those fan-made films, animations, parodies, and what have it, those were done by fans out of passion for what they saw within the original game's visuals, not out of disrespect for the future Pac-Man games that happened afterwards. I think that ultimately, yes, there is a defined identity for Pac-Man. This is supposed to represent this. But also, the graphics of the original game have this interpretive aura to them. It would be fair to interpret the graphics however you want, and to create art based on that is cool in theory. At the end of the day, there have always been many characters and stories, even going far back as hundreds or thousands of years, that have been reinterpreted in many ways. And to be honest, the idea of a Pac-Man who is a sword-wielding crusader who fights ghosts and eldritch monsters within the confines of the maze kinda sounds pretty fucking metal. But of course, it's important to have the fundamental ideas of the original work naturally incorporated into the reinterpretation, and it's also important to do it right, to have the proper execution. And yeah, leading up to the release, there were things said in interviews in regard to the production that left a bad taste in my mouth. Ultimately, the whole concept of kid-friendly character turned dark and gory is one I find stupid and is more often than not poorly executed. That being the direction they were taking this in was enough to put me off. But there was also the aforementioned stuff said in the interviews, going off about how bloody it is, or how they were very much skeptical about how Pac-Man fans would receive it, with how much of a bizarre departure it would be, basically expecting fans to be put off from it, or how there was even a debate on whether or not to include cherries. Which... wow. Look, while I did go on that tangent about how I'm fine with alternate takes on what was presented within the aesthetic of the original, I feel like an adaptation should at the very least maintain the core visual elements, as well as the items present within the original. The reluctancy to include aspects from the original, such as fucking cherries, is a red flag, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Except, looking at the actual previews of the episode, you could take some screenshots out of context, and anyone who doesn't know it's Pac-Man might not even guess that it's Pac-Man, so already there's somewhat of a flaw from a visual standpoint. And we haven't even gotten to the episode yet. What's also funny about this is that every other episode of the show strived to at least resemble the source material. And it makes sense why, because, well, let's be honest, this show effectively is a collection of commercials, which I know sounds like me making a pretentious knock against the show, but I'm not. That's just a factual statement. I mean, there's a lot of really great media that exists with the alternate intent on selling shit, and let me tell ya, boyo, there are some damn great commercials out there. In the case of Secret Level, it's pretty evident which episodes were taken seriously in an artistic sense, and which ones just exist to sell a product. But it just makes the Pac-Man episode all the more confusing, because there is no Pac-Man game that looks like the— oh, buddy boy, do I got some news for you? Dude, will you shut up? Okay, so I don't know how much of a significance there is to me mentioning this, but I was invited by a friend group to watch the first batch of the show, mainly because of this episode. Mind you, most of the people in this group aren't as acquainted with Pac-Man as I am, so there is a bit of a funny juxtaposition, whereas in this friend group I watched it with, thought it was a pretty sick episode and a really good exploration of the philosophy of the original game, whereas another friend group I'm in, who are absolutely way more into Pac-Man, absolutely hated this. For what it's worth, I've seen fans who've both hated this episode as well as fans who've loved it, and I've seen non-fans who loved it and non-fans who've hated it. So in general, it was pretty much a controversial episode, and I'm probably going to get to it later, but the discourse that followed it was very much obnoxious. But hey, that's whatever. What did I think of the episode? Was it good?
The answer is yes and no.
Was it bad?
The answer is yes and no.
Was it a mixed bag?
The answer is yes, 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 and no, and no, and no, yes, and no, yes, yes, and no. The answer is chicken, flour, egg, seed.
I guess it's the fact that I watched it with a friend group I really look up to, and to see them enjoy something Pac-Man related really warmed my heart. But also, I do recall also being intrigued by the episode in of itself. I did watch it a second time in preparation for this video, and I still kind of enjoyed it. Perhaps I got something out of it? Well, I suppose that's for me to explore here. It does have some significant issues that I will address. Anyways, an ugly-ass homunculus is released from a tubular containment, as he is then approached by a robotic figure named Puck. Wow, I wonder what the reference is! Puck guides him to a cool-looking sword as he is then attacked by a monster.
Puck guides him to a cool-looking sword as he is then attacked by a monster.
Put those grippers away! Surviving the attack, Puck tells the homunculus that he must
Eat or be eaten.
And so the rest of the episode is the homunculus and Puck fighting monsters until they reach the Tower of Mystery, as they then come face to face with Blinky piloting a gorilla-like creature, who, when the homunculus attempts to fight him, absolutely humiliatingly fucks up his shit, to which Puck then gives the homunculus the most demonic backshots known to man, transforming him into darkness, evil Pac-Man of darkness and evil shit. He maims Blinky, and then decides to go, fuck this shit, and proceeds to die, with Puck being all like, fuck! Banging her head against the tablet of the mysterious portal, saying, there's strength in repetition, over and over again, and god if that isn't relatable as fuck. It ends with Puck returning to the starting location, releasing yet another subject, starting the cycle all over again. Oh boy! What a wild episode this is! Where do I begin? Well, to start, the pacing is kind of odd. This is something a friend of mine brought up. It has a beginning and an end. The middle portion is just kind of non-existent, basically being a montage, so to speak. The thing is, pacing issues like this are prevalent throughout the mini episodes of Secret Level. These are short episodes. They have to be smart with their time, and there certainly are episodes that handle it better than others. But it's not surprising that a lot of these episodes are just introductory cutscenes that lead into a bombastic action sequence. Honestly, I'd argue that the Mega Man episode is worse than the Pac-Man episode in this regard, because this is literally just an opening with no middle or end. Perhaps this middle portion being a montage was the best approach they could have done with what little they were given. I wish it could have been a 22-minute episode with a middle portion that has other characters, or maybe even just further build upon the dynamic between Puck and the swordsman. I do like what was shown there, with Puck being a motivational force for the swordsman, trying to uplift and empower him, with the swordsman being rather weary of her true intentions. And this gets played off during the crazy climax of the episode, and I think this worryful collaboration is beautifully displayed through their body language and dialogue. And on that note, the animation and overall art direction is fucking gorgeous. Everything here looks good. There are many shots in this episode that simply look immaculate. And oh god, these environments. It's like they took the color from the neon aesthetic the series is partially known for and applied it to actual tangible locations, basically creating these environments that simultaneously feel alien and familiar. I could see these being environments in an actual Pac-Man game. Hell, 2 years before we even knew anything about the show, I remember having a dream about a Pac-Man game where you explored environments like these, except it was with the real Pac-Man. In general, I would love to explore the world this episode set up in an actual game.
Well, I got some great news for you. Hey, asshole! Ever heard of foreshadowing?
But yeah, this is a really weird, if not almost bad adaptation of Pac-Man at the end of the day. But also, it's just weird how it's both a bad adaptation and also not really a bad adaptation at the same time. There's surface level aspects like the appearance of Puck and the ghosts. There's visual references to the UGSF with references to Xevious. I feel like some of the monsters here may have been inspired by a few enemies from some other Namco games. I could be wrong on that. There's also some wink wink nudge nudge dialogue, which I did find cute admittedly.
You can eat them over and over again. Just snap of their eyes.
But beyond that stuff, how it applies itself to the idea of what Pac-Man is, it does it in a way that's antithetical to what Pac-Man was meant to be, being this violent and gory when Pac-Man was made to be the antithesis to the gory and violent, and in general, to barely, if not really resembling Pac-Man at all. What elements of Pac-Man there are things that you have to extract and stretch into a figment of a concept that may not have been intended. It's a bad adaptation that throws away the integrity of the series, and that's something I'm not going to deny. But maybe, just maybe, in a cosmic sense, that might be the point. This isn't an adaptation, it's an anti-adaptation. It takes the core of the original game and deconstruction, and that deconstruction bleeds into a greater, more cosmic deconstruction of this franchise's mismanagement and decay. The swordsman is supposed to represent us, with Puck being emblematic of the classic Pac-Man design. Puck guides us, the swordsman, but us, the swordsman, guides Puck as well. One can't function without the other. So with this, the roles are swapped, as we, the player, are Puck, and the swordsman is the Pac-Man. So we, the Puck, travel back to the beginning to start again. much like how we, the player, would start a new run after dying. The quote, "their strength and repetition," being in reference to constantly playing over and over again to get better and hopefully get further. Something that's prevalent throughout this franchise. This is, most certainly, the intended deconstruction they were aiming for. However, I'm gonna take it a step forward and go into what it represents to me. Through repetition, there's strength, but also within repetition lies decay. Repetition and decay align with that of stagnation. Stagnation is certainly what Pac-Man has gone through following the failure of Ghost's Adventures, and debatably the loss of Miss Pac-Man. Being tossed to the side, only perpetuating mediocrity after mediocrity, milking the Championship Edition gameplay till it's dried out, constantly rehashing the first game, constantly rehashing its aesthetics, removing any sense of character or world, becoming a vessel of degrading endless slop. Through this suffering is a push into the opposite, embracing what he previously rejected in an effort to break out of this hell, with the memories of better times as the light to ignite the fight for a return to those better times. Re-pac serving as the reminder of those better times when the future seemed bright. A dream of better times that fades as the corrupted Pac-Man wakes into a nightmare world of darkness and dismay. One that's emblematic of Pac-Man's mental state. A labyrinth of shadows. Shadows that walk on the dead, that prey on the weak. A world of blood, desolate realms, and destructive monsters that take the form of former friends that abandoned him. A Pac-Man corrupted by stagnation that split into two. Puck being the representation of Pac-Man's conscience, his drive to fight, but lacking the body to do so. The swordsman is the disheveled Pac-Man, the body required for Puck to succeed. Simultaneously both the muscle and the Achilles heel, being motivated but also prone to breaking due to his damage. Each iteration of the swordsman fumbling in the wake of Puck's destructive indulgence. Yet still, Puck is determined, in hopes that the next time will be different.
You must be hungry.
Yeah, I'm just saying a bunch of bullshit. But hey, what can I say? It's fun to interpret and fill in the gaps. It adds something to me at least. As is, this episode already is a reinterpretation of Pac-Man, so what harm would there be in reinterpreting a reinterpretation, even one that interjects my own dread into it? Anyways, I think it's a fine enough short that serves as a cool deconstruction, and by all means, it's one of the better episodes. Secret Level has had far worse episodes, such as Crossfire, and, well, I haven't seen it, but I can only assume that the goddamn Concord episode is just a bunch of nothing burger shitfest. But I absolutely understand why so many fans hate it. It's still not a great adaptation, though it's not really trying to be. Pac-Man is a franchise where the perception of it by most normal people is so fucking skewed, and the Secret Level episode really muddies the water on that, which is why the discourse was infuriating. A lot of the defense that was made over this episode took the route of being dismissive of the Pac-Man series as a whole, claiming how silly it is for people to be critical of how Pac-Man of all things is adapted, simply because of how the original game propositioned itself with its gameplay and in-game visuals. When even before he had a name, he already had an established design and personality and a cast of characters, and there was definitely an artistic intent. Later games in the franchise built off of this. Yes, Pac-Man is more than just one game, and a simple Google search can help you figure that out pretty fucking easily. It's why comparing it to Pong is so fucking stupid, because Pong never tried to make any character out of itself. Mind you, I like this episode for what it is, and honestly, given what this show was going for, I doubt an episode based around the actual Pac-Man would have been any good. But it should be understandable why some are not happy with this. And I'm sorry, but being reductive about Pac-Man as a series is not a good defense. The discourse this episode caused ultimately reminds me that yes, this shitty video I made back in 2019 during my Movie Maker era is still somehow relevant. Whatever, it's just stupid Twitter malarkey. It's frustrating to see this character and series get that level of disrespect, but at this point I can only care so much. At the end of the day, this is just one episode of a show and nothing more. It's not like this is a setup for a whole new game. Anyways, whatever, who cares? Hey! The 2024 Game Awards are in a few hours! Actually, the Game Awards happened 7 months ago. Ah! Hey, dipshit! Ever heard of fucking foreshadowing? It's almost like I'm building up to something! Time to watch the Game Awards with my friends, and watch GF Keighley be an absolute shill. Hey, what's this? They're gonna announce a Pac-Man thing? Boy, I sure hope it's not World 2 re-pac. Otherwise, this video I plan to make about how I would make a World 2 re-pac would be pointless. Keep in mind that joke was made with the intent of this video being first before that one came out. Well, better get OBS out to record my reaction. Now, wouldn't it be funny if it was connected to that secret level episode? Yeah, that's a funny thought, but I heavily doubt that's the case.
Oh, Namco, I'm gonna touch my willy.
Half-Life 3.
We need to destroy Premium Bandai.
What the fuck is this?
Venom, the game.
Oh wait, it's a Pac-Man game.
No, what?
Pac-Man?
What? What the fuck?
No.
What the fuck is this?
No. Fuck yourself. Oh my fucking god.
What?
So loud.
This looks fucking retarded.
What the fuck is this?
I called it.
Jesus
They made a new Pac-Man game. Retarded.
What the fuck is this?
I called it.
What? What the fuck is?
Dude, these graphics are so ass.
I called it.
They made a Pac-Man.
What the fuck?
I called it.
They just be letting them do anything with fucking
What
Pac-Man.
the
That's so fucking retarded.
I called it.
What the fuck is that?
Man, you got a Pac-Man game.
Well, talk about a fucking plot twist, am I right? That whole episode was actually a teaser for a game that hadn't even been announced yet, which probably explains why the entire episode kind of feels like a trailer. It's effectively equivocal to those surreal secret movies that the Kingdom Hearts games had that were selling on concepts for whatever next game they were gonna make. Except in this instance, Shadow Labyrinth came first before the secret level episode. Yeah, all those things that were said about the episode's production, from how they conceived it or how Bamco told them to make something so wildly different and crazy, yeah, it was all bullshit. It was all in the act of promoting this game. And yeah, on that note, I guess Secret Level Pac-Man is a good adaptation of Shadow Labyrinth, that is. Now, I propositioned this video under the idea of what was on my mind from first seeing the Secret Level episode to then seeing the reveal of Shadow Labyrinth. That said, it's been 7 fucking months. This video should have been made 7 months ago. The game is out in less than 2 days as of writing. I guess I haven't been worth shit in terms of productivity. Oh fucking well. Regardless, my initial reaction was nothing more than complete utter shock and awe. But after that shock went away, I was mixed about this game when it was announced. It looked decent enough, but I was really questionable about how this game would actually apply Pac-Man core game design elements and general concepts. And also, the animation reminded me of this fuck-ass GIF, which I do think is funny, but still. That said, I was given hope when I saw who was working on this. They have a talented dev team who've previously done some really cool games, one of those being Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Not one of the best Kirby games, but one of the most interesting ones, and still a good game nonetheless. Ultimately, I figured out that this game would have 3 different outcomes on how good it could be. Outcome A would be cool movement and ideas, mediocre execution, and portalization of Pac-Man. Outcome B would be a pretty damn good Metroidvania, but fails to utilize the Pac-Man elements well, or fails to innovate on cool Pac-Man concepts. Or Outcome C, a Metroidvania that's really good and readapts Pac-Man's elements in a meaningful way. With everything I've seen leading up to the game's release, I'm gonna say it's looking to be somewhere between B and C. It's going about adapting Pac-Man concepts in interesting ways. Some of the things they've done with Puck come to mind, with how there are sections where you control her in these maze movement puzzle platforming segments. There's the Gaia form that's effectively this game's take on the Power Pellet, making it this Sin Devil Trigger-esque power-up as Puck and the Swordsman fuse into a cool-ass Evangelion mech that's packing a giant fuck you laser. And of course, there's the G-Hosts, this game's take on the Ghost Gang. They look to be some very formidable bosses. Personally, to me, this game is very much Newman Core in the sense that you're this cool-looking cloaked figure with a cool-looking sword being aided by a Pac-Man robot, fighting through fearsome enemies and exploring these beautiful yet desolate environments, and being able to fuse with Puck to become a cool-ass robot. There's also Thebe, an antagonist in the game who's this robot girlification of a Xevious boss. If a year ago you told me this would be a character in a Pac-Man game, I would ask you what you were smoking, and then probably ask you if I could take a hit of some of that shit. I guess one of my biggest takeaways with this game is that, to me, it's essentially the second coming of Pac-Man World 3. World 3 was the OG official edgy take on Pac-Man. It was the Pac-Man game notable for its attempts at atmospheric and mysterious environments, an emphasis on combat and exploration, and a greater focus on story, with there being something to do with an ancient civilization. Shadow Labyrinth is hitting a lot of the same notes, even as far as being able to control a Pac-Man mech, much like how in Roll 3 you had 2 levels where you got to control Talkman. Obviously, this game is not intended to be the spiritual successor to one of the lesser popular games in the franchise. It's really just a me thing that I can't help but see this game as Roll 3 taken to its most logical extreme. As a whole, Shadow Labyrinth is a game that I did not see coming from a mile away, but so far it's been a pleasant surprise. That said, I totally understand those who are not happy with this. It is very unorthodox, and as much as I hate to say it, this game has a very uphill battle with its path to success. Don't get me wrong, it has seemingly formed a fanbase of its own, and many have grown to be excited for it, but it's still seeing a decent amount of pushback. Not to mention, I can see a lot of people writing it off as yet another Hollow Knight clone, even if it has its own unique attributes that greatly sets it apart. But then there's also the fact that it's unlucky enough to be faced with some serious competition.
Holy shit! What?
Yep, Donkey Kong Bonanza, the first new DK platformer in a decade, and the first new 3D DK platformer in more than 2 decades. And it's also a successor to Mario Odyssey, being made by the same people, and it's coming out the day before Shadow Labyrinth. To call this competition would be an extreme understatement. Part of me wondered if the controversy over the price of the Switch 2 and its games would give Shadow Labyrinth an edge. But nope, it's definitely not going to. Now, remember that scene in the Secret Level episode where the Blinky Gorilla was fucking up Swordman number 7's shit? Yeah, that was cosmic Oda-level foreshadowing. Foreshadowing of DK Bonanza wrecking Shadow Labyrinth in terms of sales. Now, I never really bothered to get a Switch 2, and I don't know when I'll ever get one, so it's pretty evident which game I'll be playing this weekend. I really wish I got a Switch 2, because fuck, man. Dodging spoilers for DK Bonanza is gonna be a real fucking bitch. Let me tell ya. Let me fucking tell ya. Still, I'm not gonna deny, this game is facing an uphill battle in terms of success. Who knows, it might pull through, but we'll just have to wait and see. There's a lot more I wanted to say in this video, but I'm strapped for time. Maybe I'll get to say more in the Shadow Labyrinth video I plan to make a month after the game is out. It won't be a full through-and-through spoilish retrospective. I would want to save that for the inevitable Pac-Man retrospective, but at the very least, it'll go into the discourse surrounding the game and go over how well the game succeeds at what it's trying to be. I might even do a livestream playing through the game, going into the nitty-gritty of my thoughts on it as I play through it. Well, I might. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. As is, I'm looking forward to Shadow Labyrinth. I think it'll be a fun time, but to reiterate, I totally understand those who are unhappy with this. However, if you're mad over this game not being Pac-Man World 2 re-pac, then all I'm gonna say to you at this moment is to be patient. I'm fully confident that we will be getting a World 2 re-pac soon. Bamco would have to be stupid not to have that in production. Then again, this is Bamco we're talking about. Still though, it's gonna happen. Until next time, I will see you all later.